Introducing Instagram Teen Accounts, a new way to keep your teens safer as they grow, like making sure they've got the right gear for riding.
Knee pads.
Check.
And helmet?
Done. See you, Dad.
New Instagram Teen Accounts, automatic protections for who can contact your teen and the content they can see.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble. My name is Chris Reavers, and by my side, his name is Mike Fratelloni with Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
Are you okay telling the story that you were telling me about the Garage Logic podcast town council member
right before
that showed up to your store?
Right before I came here, I got a call from one of our guys named Don, and Don said, "Hey, there's a customer here with his town council card membership here."
Yep.
He says, "How does he get his $10 off?" And I said, take care of him. Take care of that guy.
Sure.
But everyone else who's a member of the town council, when you first sign up and you get that beautiful letter and certificate from Joe,
Yep.
Like a nice one-page handwritten letter, right? Doesn't he do one-page handwritten?
Yep.
You get that, and you get a gift card from Fratelloni's. So really, the gift card is what you have to bring in, not your town council membership card. But because this guy, Waconia is our new store out there. It's looking great, by the way. Waconia is quite the
so
gem.
this was at the brand spanking
the brand new
store.
one. And my team said, so sometimes I don't fill the team in on every single thing I do.
Sure.
And they said, well, we didn't know a thing about this. Well, and I said, well, normally someone's bringing in a gift card. What do you need to know? Like a guy brings in a gift card. It's just, you just take the gift card. So they were a little mad at me, Don was. But I could see he had a subtle undertone of mad, but he's just too much of a gentleman to actually yell at me.
I have a prediction.
Yes.
And I don't know, we did not talk about this before before with our extensive pre-show that we do for this broadcast every week. I have a prediction. It may have even started already, but I'm willing to bet on something.
Okay.
You are going to fall in love with the city of Waconia so much. I envision you spending a lot of time there this summer.
You know, that is quite the prediction. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I do like it out there, and I do work out there. I'm going out tomorrow. I love it. I like the little small town feel. I like it. It is far from my home, right? I live in Mendota. It's a long way. But I still go. I have to go out there for work, right? We were opening this new store. It's the Everson's Hardware Hank we took over. They were 56 years old.
What was the last name?
Everson Hardware Hank.
Everson. Okay.
Yeah, it's right on 5.
I know
Everyone
exactly
knows
where it is. I just didn't know what family had owned that.
We've been it's... Luckily, I know this is going to sound a little strange, and the only way that this is lucky that this weather's kind of been bad is we're not quite ready at the reset of that store.
I see.
So it bought us some time. The problem is our other 21 stores are totally ready. They're totally ready to be busy. So we're taking one for the team, but helping Waconia. But we'd like to have a nice 60-degree week where people can get out in their yards, plant some grass, put some fertilizer down, get their pools ready.
Basically, you are describing the woman that I'm married to, who last weekend, when it started to snow, was staring out the window muttering.
Yeah.
Because of how
Just
much
mad.
she hates. Well, because she wants to go to get her, what do you call it? Annuals, perennials,
Sure.
whatever.
She wants to start that up.
Oh, my God.
But see, what she has to remember is she couldn't feel the elation in spring if you lived someplace else where it was always 70 degrees.
Exactly.
You just wouldn't get that.
You don't get that same endorphins, whatever it's called.
You don't get the high highs if you don't have the low lows.
Exactly.
Right? So she has to experience that April 1st, 10 inches of snow and think, I'm going to kill something. And then a few days later, it's 84 degrees. And you're like, this is the best state I've ever been in.
And it's
to go right back down to 17 degrees.
I'm going to kill something, and it might just so happen to be the person I'm married to.
What'd you think of Don Lemon getting fired?
It's interesting you bring that up.
I'm kind of surprised, to tell you the truth.
I'm not, because the thing is, I'm so jaded. Nothing really shocks me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing surprises me. To the point where when I was sitting in this chair on January 6th, staring at the TV that's over there, I wasn't surprised. I was kind of, was it mortified? But I wasn't really surprised, which that's something that should surprise me.
You'd hope that would be kind of shocking.
But nothing surprises me anymore. Not a thing.
About Don Lemon I thought was kind of interesting, and I think that maybe I'm a higher form of human than I used to be.
Okay.
Right? Is one of the things that he's proclaiming that why he was let go, there's possibly this intersectionality that he said, hey, because I'm African American and I'm gay. And I said, those two things never even popped in my mind that he was gay or black. I thought, I'm really becoming a well-rounded human because I didn't notice anything like that. All I think is, he's sharp looking because he's a handsome guy, right?
Sure.
He's a very polished, good looking guy, right? I mean, do I love his politics? No. But that's not what I never thought of his. I'm like, he's gay. I had no idea he was gay. Not that I would even care that he's gay. But I thought, I'm really making strides in this world to not notice anything.
You're throwing something at me that I was unaware of. I didn't realize he had went down that road because I'll be honest, I don't care about anything that comes out of his mouth.
I think he said there was more to it than just what happened, implying intersectionality.
Those, and I'm going to take you at your word, those that I want to self-identify by this is what I stand for is the fact that I'm gay and I'm black. Well, okay. I don't care.
Yeah.
You be you. That's not going to change my opinion about you one way or the other. But to then go to that, because the same thing happened with the old mayor of the city of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot. She instantly went to the race card, even though
you're the mayor of a huge town.
She was replaced by an African American male.
Yeah.
So I just don't have time for that.
But
crap
not
because I don't care.
Female. It was a male.
No, she was replaced.
But she was replaced not by an African American. Because if it would have been African American female, then she could have said, she got me. But since it was a guy, she's like, I'm a woman. Hear me roar.
So we it's funny you say that because we brought up Tucker's departure yesterday on yesterday's Garage Logic
Do you think
podcast.
Lemon's mad that they had to get fired on the same day? Because it totally took the shine out of Don Lemon.
I think it probably was done by design.
You think so?
Because obviously the Tucker Carlson dismissal is going to way overshadow.
I don't think Don Lemon would think he would be way overshadowed by.
Well, you got to be kidding.
There's not a moment in his head does he think he's smaller in the world of media.
Maybe not to him, but
Yes.
I'm just speaking in terms of reality.
Okay.
I mean, Tucker has 25 times the platform. I mean,
Sure.
Don was demoted.
Don was demoted all the way down.
A long time ago. Not a long time, but within the last year. So I think it might have even been done where CNN got word like, this is our chance.
Yeah.
We can do this. And
You think so?
I probably.
Yeah, I
have
don't know.
no idea.
I don't know the timing. I didn't really follow through on the timing, but it does seem weird that even in firings, Don Lemon still is getting his ass kicked by Tucker Carlson, right? Because Tucker took everything.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't care. I've watched them both. I don't care about either of them, right? This is not a political thing. But I wonder if Tucker thinks he's going to run for president, which I think would be an incredible mistake.
And I said this earlier today, and I'll say it again. And we got a lot of people that emailed and say you don't get it, and they're entitled to their opinion, and that's fine. But to those that think that this is in some way, some type of way to silence, and I'm speaking just about Tucker individually, and I'm gonna say it again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest thing that has ever happened to Tucker Carlson, and to the point where I won't even be shocked and surprised if this wasn't him going to whoever his boss was. Hey, if you guys are thinking about making a decision, let's do it right now. Because ahead of what's going to become the hottest, heaviest presidential race that we're going to have in our lifetimes for sure, he's going to be able to go to his own independent forum and print money.
Yeah,
he's going to, and I know he was making a lot before, but he is going to be able to name his figure.
Did he?
At this
did
point.
They ever say what he was making? What did they? Do you know?
I'm
what
sure it was.
Yeah.
He was probably one of the top 5 highest
like
paid
$15 million a year
personalities
or something like
on television.
Yeah. Okay. So
he had to have been
huge money, maybe even more than that.
To the point where basically, and I can't remember where exactly I read this yesterday, where someone wrote, I'm not a fan of Fox News, but Fox News is basically committing suicide because they're cutting off their biggest revenue producer that they have.
There had to be a reason, and we don't know the whole reason.
And we don't know the whole
right?
reason. And I still think that there's still a larger, not game, but there's a larger thing that we're all missing.
Sure,
for some reason.
Some story behind the story. I wonder, have you ever heard of the Daily Wire? That's with Ben Shapiro. No.
No, he owns the Daily Caller. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
sorry.
Daily Wire is Ben
familiar,
Shapiro and the guy who wrote What is a Woman?
Something Walsh, right?
Yeah, Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh, thank you.
And Michael Knowles and Jordan Peterson and just kind of like conservative names. And I was listening to Ben Shapiro this morning on his podcast, talking exclusively about Tucker.
Okay.
And he was like, he's one of the finest journalists I've ever... I mean, he was playing it so thick and so deep. You know, he's saying to Tucker, do you want to make $50 million working here? Because we'll pay you $15 million.
Or he's saying, hey, Tucker, I know you're about to start your own thing. I'm on board.
Yeah, put it on this thing.
I'll join you.
Yeah, well, I think the Daily Wire they're making a fortune. A fortune. Okay. I mean, I think Ben's probably making what Tucker was making on his own thing, right? But he owns it, right? Sure. He doesn't have to share it with anybody.
Sure.
So, and he has multiple millions of daily listeners. But he has the Daily Wire had like more people stream than all of CNN shows put together.
Right.
So they were more powerful than CNN, which seemed a little weird. So it's going to be a really interesting thing. I wish no ill will to Don Lemon. I don't. But I think he's going to bounce back. I don't think his bounce is going to be quite as strong as Tucker's.
What amazes me, and I'm going to really try hard to find the right way to put this, because, given the last, 5 to 10 years or so, the collective everybody, all of us in this big fishbowl, right? Whether you're on that side of the street or you're on this side of the street, for whatever reason, people have found it that there's this mentality, and it goes for both sides, that you're either with us or you're against us. Mm-hmm. And that's the part I can't wrap my head around, because I can still find a way to have a conversation with someone that I don't agree with 100% of the time, when we've lost that.
Hey, Joe, are you still here?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
He's long gone.
Because my thought is I was going to go to a seasoned guy, Joe.
Sure.
Was there a time where politicians said, hey, I understand I am not in your party, but I still want your vote?
Sure.
Instead of saying, I understand you're not in my party and I think you're stupid, they said, oh, I understand that we might not see eye to eye on everything, but I still want your vote. Mm-hmm. And I think politicians today forget to ask for the vote from everybody, and they surely forget to ask for it from the opposing party.
Right.
Because many times there's much more crossover than we would ever think, right? There's many more people in the middle than there are on the ends.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because what I don't think people still understand is, yes, you have your lunatic fringe on this side and on that side. There is no question. However, the vast majority of people still reside somewhere in the middle of that black and white. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but remain in that gray area. Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very convinced of it. But there was no greater example of this, at least from an email standpoint, from the Garage Logic broadcast yesterday, of how you are going to react to the degree that you do, based solely on an opinion of some talking head.
Yeah.
That didn't happen 20 years ago.
No.
I don't, even at the height of, remember whatever year it was when the Clinton scandal first surfaced, right?
What Clinton scandal? Sorry.
But remember how that was, at least in my lifetime, that was, the big talker amongst, you're around the water cooler or you're at school. And I remember that, and you almost had to pick a side. Mm-hmm. Okay, but then it was over. His presidential run came to a conclusion, and we moved on.
Yep.
Right? But I don't think we're doing that anymore.
No, we need to have one of those clear wins. Someone needs to have a really clear win in the next presidential.
Which ain't happening.
No, but it can't be a 51-49. It's got to be a 60-40, right? Let's pick one. Someone's got to win. Have you heard of this guy named Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yes.
He is a smooth character.
Yes, he is.
And he was on with Don Lemon the other day.
He sure was.
And he held his own. Like, Don had his points.
One of his final interviews, if I'm not mistaken.
One of his final interviews.
Don Lemon's final interviews.
Yeah, hopefully Vivek. This guy, I don't know if he has a chance to become president, Vivek, right? Is it Vivek?
I don't believe he would qualify, right?
Well, no, he's 100%. He was born in America. He's
he
for
was.
president.
I thought he was born outside of this country.
No, he's 100% running. He's running for president right now. You can donate him as little as $6,600 if you want.
Okay,
you can hit the button. I'm looking at the button right now. So, but I think he is very smooth, and I think he has the ability to say, "Here are my points, but I want to hear yours on the other side. Oh, here's why I think you should maybe think of thinking it my way, and I still want your vote." Right? Mm-hmm. And I think he's not. He's very one-sided, right? He's on one side compared to the other guys. But I think there's a real chance for some politician like him, like Vivek, to step up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be this crossover candidate," and I don't see another one of them. I don't see. Biden's not going to cross over. He's not going to cross over. You know who else could be a crossover candidate? Kennedy.
Yeah, there is.
Name alone, people might want to go to that.
I believe I read a couple of days ago that because of his emergence, Kennedy's now I'm talking about, that I believe the Biden camp, not that they've officially announced, but they have basically stated
they have officially announced now. Yeah.
They are not going to be involved in any debates.
Yes, I heard that.
And I think it's specifically because of the announcement that Kennedy was going to run for the presidential nomination.
Speak?
Yeah,
he's, and I kind of like Kennedy, right? I'm not saying I'm going to vote for him. I'm not going to say I vote for anybody because I don't care. You do whatever you want to do. Don't send me a letter. But what I'm saying is he can barely speak past Biden. He does what I do. He starts going down one train and then jumps to a different one and then jumps to a different one. So he's kind of mush-brained.
Gotcha.
I told you I went to my buddy's mother's funeral the other day.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did I tell you the story?
No.
I didn't share it? Yeah, I probably didn't. I haven't talked to you. I went to my buddy's father's funeral, excuse me. His mother's still alive.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, remember this?" And he started telling me stories. Reavers, I have no long-term memory whatsoever.
You do have a very bad memory.
I really do.
Right.
And it got to the point where, first of all, I have to make amends to some people. I realized that some of the things I did in high school, I might need to make amends to a couple of stores and a couple of people because I just wasn't as kind as I should have been.
All right.
But
it's good that you're acknowledging that.
It is. It's weird because I left this funeral and I said, I'm going to go see this person and talk to them because I don't remember doing that. And none of it was like super repugnant, right?
Sure.
But it wasn't something that if my kids did today, I would murder them. Right. But I was a good guy. So I said to my buddy, his name is Tom, and I said, "Tom, all I remember you being in high school is like this sweet kid, and we were just an honest, and you just loved playing soccer, and we just went out on your boat, and it was just a good life." And he's like, "What color was the sky in your high school world?" I'm like, "Wait, what?" And it was really funny. He kind of put me back in my place. So I had lunch with my sister, and I said, "This happened." And luckily, the only reason I know that I'm not like deficient mentally is she too has the same brain that I have, and she's a outstanding human and, was a principal of a school for 20 years. She couldn't have done what she did if her brain would have been that bad.
Okay.
Right. So I think, but my dad would have just kept me working if my brain was this bad. Right. He would have not. He would have just pretended to let me go. Right.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is if I meet you someplace and you said, "Hey, remember we met 10 years ago?" I have no concept of meeting. And like when John says, "I went to that concert," and, John on Garage Logic, when he says, "Oh, I went to that concert in 89 and I saw them and that was at the Met Center." No, I would never in my life be able to name one concert past 5 years ago that I even went to.
That's interesting.
Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something's wrong with me, I think.
And mine is, well, I guess I have a decent long-term memory, but it sometimes is, I'll forget. But my oldest son is fantastic about remembering a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, I keep my buddies and he's really honest.
Okay.
So he won't fib to make me look bad, or he says, "No, Dad, that happened on Tuesday." Well, okay, I'll trust him because he has no reason to lie to me about that.
No, when he says, "Hey, that's your fourth," and you're like, "It's my third," and he'll be like, "No, Dad, that's your fourth."
I've been counting.
Then you're like, okay, someone's watching me, and you're like, whatever, tattletale.
So, okay, now that we're down this path, we were on our way to school this morning, and it's my own, so the road that we have to take is currently flooded.
Oh, really?
So there's a much longer route that we have to take because my boys still go to school where we used to live in Carver, even though now we live in Jordan. So
the Jordan River is flooded.
Well, it's the Minnesota.
Okay, just check.
Yeah, it did flood. In fact, because I knew last week when we got that, I'm like, oh, that damn road's going to flood. So it's basically going to take me twice as long, which whatever, it's no big deal. So there's a lot more bonding time, we'll say.
Okay.
And so one of the games we like to play is, what do you think of when you hear this song, right? Which is just kind of a cool thing that we do. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a good game.
So I'm a big fan of the 90s on 9 satellite channel because it makes me feel like I'm still in high school and college because that was my heyday, right? Mm-hmm. This is so bad. And so the Celine Dion song, what's the name of the title? The title, not the one that was in the Titanic movie, but it's the other one that was a huge hit for her.
Sure.
Something that's all coming back to me now or something like that. And I said out loud, "Oh, guys, this is the GOAT song." And they said, "Well, what the GOAT song?" I go, "Listen to when she tries to hold the really high-pitched note. She sounds like a goat."
Okay.
To the point where my 8-year-old was laughing so hard that, because you can hear it when it's pointed out. Right?
Sure. It sounds for you.
Well, then that turned into, that's how they spoke the rest of the car ride.
Oh,
and I said, "Hey,
cute.
guys, no. Guys, we're walking into school now. We got to stop." So my worry is that me doing that to them is going to result in them at music class and in band prep. They're going to do that then the rest of the day, which makes me look like the bad guy.
Yeah. But you 100% know that every single thing that you do, they will take a little chunk of.
100%.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, no matter what, whether you say it's the GOAT song or if you use speak the Lord's name in vain or something when someone cuts you off.
Yeah, and I still do radio brain with them.
Okay, you're
where
smart
I
enough to.
really try hard not to use any profanity in front of them, and I try because I don't really get angry behind the wheel.
Sure.
If I'm in the car by myself, I might mutter something, but yeah, when they're in with me, I just tune it down.
We can't control other people, Rivers.
No,
and once we know we can't control other people, life becomes happier.
To the point where I know I said at one point to my 11-year-old, I said, "Buddy, what you're going to end up discovering as you further along your path in life here is that a lot of people are dumb, and you're just going to have to come to grips with that."
Yeah. And so, hopefully you're not one of them.
Let's try really hard.
Let's try really hard to have it be not you. We went through politics. We went through child rearing.
So I have to do this because this came to us from loyal listener Terry.
Hopefully it's something about global warming.
Nothing at all.
Okay, got him.
It just made me chuckle.
Let's do it.
The Lone Ranger and Tonto went camping in the desert, Michael. After they got their tent all set up, both of them fell sound asleep. Hours later, Tonto wakes the Lone Ranger and says, "Kimosabe, look towards sky, what you see?" And the Lone Ranger replies, "Well, I see millions and millions of stars." "What that tell you?" asked Tonto. The Lone Ranger ponders for a minute, then says, "Well, astronomically speaking, it tells me there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, it tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Time-wise, it appears to be approximately 3:15 in the morning. Theologically, the Lord is all-powerful, and we are all small and insignificant. Meteorologically, it seems we will have a beautiful day tomorrow. What does it tell you, Tonto?" "You dumber than dumb. It means somebody stole the tent." Hold on. And we got to get that. That made me laugh.
Yes. Who wrote that in?
That was Terry.
Terry, thank you.
Yes.
We'll take all that stuff.
Here's the thing. The reason I read it on our show, if I were to do that on GL, Joe would say, "You're fired."
Yeah. You're getting a little bit of trouble.
I'm going to walk you to your car to make sure you leave the building, and you're going to hand in every badge that you have.
You know what we haven't had is an after-work meeting. Because we don't have to have them because we're on a totally different scale.
Correct.
But on Garage Logic, Rookie hasn't had any after-work meetings lately. And he probably deserves some.
Yeah, especially after his attempt today, which you'll, I'm sure, hear later today when you finally listen to Well, he tried a new accent, and it failed miserably.
It was, let me guess, a Jewish, Indian, Scottish guy.
You're close. Okay. It was, I forget the name of the famous art performer that died, and he was part Jamaican.
Sidney Poitier?
No, he was part Jamaican and had some Scottish.
Harry Belafonte.
Thank you very much. And Rookie attempted a Scottish Jamaican accent, and he basically sounded like the Irish pimp.
Oh, I like it.
Well, you're one of them.
Okay.
You're the one. You're the one.
Okay, because I think that would be great. He's been really good. on the show. He needs to know. He needs to remember his lane. And drive in that lane as hard as he possibly can.
We can't ask you about that because you are the number one Rookie fan
I
going.
think everybody loves Rookie.
Yeah, of course.
But he needs to do as many. We don't have any call-ins. He doesn't do any call-ins anymore.
Right.
We used to love those.
I know, but it's really tough to do it here.
You could just walk into the other room.
Well, though, here's the difference, though. To give you a peek in the listener, a peek
We're
behind
all
the
in
curtain.
one room.
The problem is, back then, it was as easy as he and I sitting in the producer's room. Well, we just shut our mics off. Joe can still do the show.
Yep.
And then Rook can use the phone, the handset in the studio. Well, now he has to go in the other room.
Yeah.
You can still hear him, even though there's glass here, and if the door's shut, it's not 100% soundproof like the old radio studio.
I bet you there's a way. There's a way.
Well, we've done it.
There's a way.
Yeah, we've absolutely done it.
Because some of those are so golden. Some of those are so golden. You just want to listen to them. You just want to, maybe, I know with the town council, you get access to old shows.
Right.
And maybe there'd be like a 2-minute segment you guys could play in each one of your current shows to remind people how great those old shows were, too.
Sure.
And then, I'm not trying to do more work for you, but that would be 2 minutes less that you guys would have to perform each day. Think of that.
That's a good point.
Think of that.
Well, yesterday on Monday Night Sports Talk. I don't know if you got a chance to listen.
Get a chance, not yet.
But, we went from, let's see, where did we go from? We went from, discussing the Wild loss on Sunday to the Timberwolves loss to the Twins and Yankees big series. The Twins won the first game last night to Royce losing his glasses because Royce went to all 3 games in town on Sunday.
Really?
He did Twins, Wild, Wolves. And I was convinced, that's where you lost your glasses. You left them in the Uber because he Ubered from one to the other to them then talking about the best way to order cheater glasses on the internet.
Oh, good.
Which is what that show is designed to do.
Yeah,
it should be called the Non Sequitur Sports Podcast.
Just anything about anything
which
sports.
is fantastic. That was basically
Did you watch the Timberwolves game? At halftime when Barkley said...
Oh, yeah, he was watching hockey.
And Barkley, if I'm not mistaken, was hired by CNN.
Somebody mentioned that, and I was...
You do not know this?
And I love Barkley, but I was completely unaware that he was hired by CNN.
I don't get why...
But wait a minute, is this... Because isn't... CNN is a property of Turner, correct?
No, he's going to be on CNN News.
Well, my point being his big contract, isn't that all part of one giant parent company, or am I mistaken here? Because Turner owns, obviously, TNT, which is the main source of his broadcasting.
Well, Gayle King, Oprah's friend.
Yes.
Right? And Charles Barkley are going to have their own show on CNN.
I guarantee it'll be a success.
To's new primetime show. I don't think, no, you know why I don't think that is? Because I think Charles Barkley he adds color and wit. But he's not going to sit there and do a bunch of work.
But maybe that's what Gayle King's role is going to be then. Maybe he will still be able to react in that capacity. Because the thing that I truly believe that everyone loves about Charles is, and I said this earlier, he's not trying to be somebody else.
Sure.
We're in a lot of cases, and I'm gonna say this again. The reason that Joe kind of went after Tucker a little bit is he was playing a character on his show where just because he said it on his show doesn't necessarily mean he believes it.
Yeah, and he didn't because he wrote emails to the opposite.
I got to tell people again, there's a lot of people that are like that are both working nationally and in this market. There's a lot of people that are like that.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
How much do I make for this show?
So much money.
So much. Do I change what I say on this show because I don't want to have people get mad at me? The answer is yes. and I get paid
for you
and I get paid $0 to do this show.
Correct.
So if someone was handing me $15 million a year to do the show,
right,
I would say anything.
Where's the script?
You tell me what to say. So yes, I think there.
And that's essentially what Joe said
but that's
earlier.
Fair, right? It's fair. He's playing the whatever he was playing, his role he was playing, and maybe he believed half of it, maybe he didn't, right? And I'm sure there's parts that you just don't believe, but you kind of have to go with the program. But for $15 million or $25 million or whatever he was making, I get it. I do this show for free, and I still have to watch my tongue.
And again, I try to tell people that there's a line where you decide, and you being the brain trust behind the brand, you make a conscious decision to say, all right, there's certain roads we're just not going to go down. I've been part of shows that have done that have said, you know what, we're not going to go down this road and we're not going to go down that road, only because here's where we think we're going to be able to coexist and have and strike a dynamic with this type of a listening audience. It happens.
Yep.
And that's what the part of me that knows all of this can say, well, he's just playing or he or she, they're just playing a character. I don't get why that's so hard to see.
Dare I say that Joe Souchere is slightly different on the Joe Souchere podcast, the Garage Logic podcast, than he is on the Town Council time.
True.
Slightly different.
True.
I mean, I know his language would become much more colorful, potentially.
Sure.
Does he swear on the Town Council?
Very infrequently.
Very infrequently, yes. Okay.
Once that Town Council thing, that's the only thing that changes with Joe.
Yeah, I guess his ideology doesn't change.
Right.
But
his
colorful anecdotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we're having a meeting, for instance.
Yes.
Then that's typically what takes place. But I guess that to me is why none of this has been surprising to me, because, not that I know everything behind it, but, a lot of us know how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the bit.
Sure.
We all get it, I guess.
You can't always share everything.
So
right?
There was one thing I really wanted to get to with you, because I want your reaction. You are as diehard as anybody I know towards football and the Vikings.
Love it.
How do you
football.
feel about Aaron Rodgers finally being traded to the New York Jets?
I think
I'm mixed.
I'm glad he's gone from the Packers, right? But he was such a diminishing value to the Packers. It would have been nice to have him just ride it out and grind it away, and with that hatred on his face where he just looked like he was going to punch, kick, and cry at the same time.
Right.
And if I were the Jets, I'd be pissed.
Why?
Because you have a guy who just is going to ride it out.
Okay, we kind of agree, but we don't agree. See, I was firmly in the camp that was going to say, you know what? Let these two. In fact, to the point where when the trade started to really break down, I thought, this is perfect. Mm-hmm. Let him come back and let him say, you know what? Fine. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to throw it to that guy, or I'm going to throw it to, I don't care.
Yep.
And I'm going to get my $60 million. And we're going to be a sub 500 team.
And I'll never be sacked once because the ball will be out of my hands on the ground before
to the point where I'm
going to
hit somebody in the back because they're not even looking. I don't care.
Yep.
To now where he's going to be motivated.
Do you think?
Oh, yeah. He's way too prideful of a human being to not be.
Is that what it looked like last year for the Packers?
But it's different now.
Okay.
Now he has been questioned. The team, the girl. Look at his own person. Look at the snapshot of the personal life that he's displayed publicly. Whatever. He has said, "Oh, you don't want to date me anymore." Oh, okay. Well, guess what? I'm going to go find this new girl, and we're going to hit it off to the point where it's going to be great for 10 months,
and then
it's
going to come a new girl.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Him for that. That was smart of him. He's always done that well. But so maybe he's going to do what Favre did. He's going to leave the Packers.
Okay.
Obviously, he's not coming to the Vikings, but Favre came to the Vikings and said, "I'm going to light it up with another team
for 1 year."
For 1 year.
Yep.
And maybe that's what he's going to do. He 100% has the skill to light it up.
Sure.
He's an amazing quarterback. A guy that I don't want to say. I was going to say a D word.
Right.
You pick the one. He just doesn't seem like a nice guy. I don't like him.
No, he's extremely unlikable.
And I think part of the reason why I disliked him so much, which is totally unfair, is because he was so skill-filled. He was so good. Mm-hmm. And that you just knew that if you were down, if the Vikings were up 7 points and he had the ball with 48 seconds left, you lost.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you were done.
But there was somebody, and I retweeted this morning, but I have no idea who this person is, but it was a very, very funny line. Charlie Behrens, apparently he is a comedian and an Emmy-winning journalist and host of the Manitowoc Minute, whatever. But he had the greatest line about this. So there's the Adam Schefter tweet about breaking news, and he's got the Aaron Rodgers in a Jets jersey. And this guy retweeted it and said, "Breaking news. Rodgers breaks Favre's record for the longest Midwest goodbye. Yeah. And I thought, my God, is that funny and so spot on. Because that's what this is about. That's exactly what this is about. He just wants to be, he can't stand it if the spotlight isn't on him. Mm-hmm. And he will not know what to do with himself once football is over and no one gives a damn about him anymore. That is the type of person he is.
Because he doesn't have the personality that would carry him to TV, do you think? He doesn't have the looks for it. He's not well, I guess now he has that kind of weird look. You can't tell what he'd look like cleaned up.
But he is
he's no Tom Brady.
He is a very cerebral person.
Is he? Okay.
And I mean,
I guess he was good on
all of these networks. Look at they gave Brady the $300 million contract before he even auditioned.
Yeah.
Or not audition, but before he even did a
develop
game.
Some skills to do it. Yeah.
And again, I think that guys like him, they're wired specifically that they're going to work as hard as they can to become good at something like that. So no, it won't surprise me.
Yeah, and Rodgers did do Jeopardy, and he did okay on Jeopardy.
Oh, that's true.
Remember when he was hosting Jeopardy?
You're right.
I didn't even remember that. I definitely I have a friend who made it onto Jeopardy, right? Mm-hmm. And then I think I couldn't even read the questions to Jeopardy. If I were to be the host of Jeopardy, I'd be like, I don't know what those words are. I'm going to go ahead and not be able to do this.
And I had a feeling that this was coming down, but Michael, big news, breaking news on a podcast.
You're kidding. What is this?
No, I'm not. The Minnesota House has just passed a bill to legalize marijuana for adults 21 and older on a vote of 71 to 59. I'm not surprised by the news, but I knew that was going to happen at some point.
I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to pass in the state.
Are you?
Because I think there's some weird things in there. That was the House that passed it, right?
Correct.
So, but I think there was some weird. It was a very convoluted bill.
But you're aware that there's one section of the of politics that basically has all control.
All control. One side has all control.
What would make you think this isn't going to pass?
I thought this particular bill, because now the House, that was the House that passed it?
Correct.
So the Senate will have to pass their bill.
Which it will.
Well, they were having some problems with that Senate bill. I thought. I thought there was like weird things in there, and it had to do with Medicare. I mean, there was a bunch of other crap in there.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to pass so easily. And I know Walz wants to have a real banger of a drug bill, right? He wants to have a great one. I don't know if it's right for Minnesota. To tell you the truth, I don't think it's right for Minnesota.
I personally do not care if someone wants to smoke pot.
Sure.
Doesn't affect my life. I do worry about, however, okay, that's today. What about 10 years from now?
Sure.
What are we going to look like? That's, I guess, my only point of contention.
Do you want more people high or less people high?
Well, and that's just it, because I'll tell you this. When you drive on a busy street or in rush hour traffic, that's all you smell. And that's the thing. Like, well, do I want it to be easier for someone to be inebriated? I don't know. I personally, you want to go ahead. You do you. I don't care. I'm a live and let live guy. Sure. I just don't want to be told how to live my life.
So cigars have a tax, I think, in the state of Minnesota. I think it's 74% on cigars.
Which, by the way, that's all that this is about.
Yeah,
this is another revenue stream for the state of Minnesota.
Yeah,
okay,
but
continue.
but it's like the sin tax on cigars. But the tax on marijuana is not going to be 74%. So why cigars that don't get anybody high potentially have the same dangers that smoking weed would have, like ingesting whatever you're ingesting. Smoking weed is kind of the same as smoking a cigar, maybe. Maybe they both have nicotine, maybe they don't. I'm not educated on that.
Right.
But how is that possible? How are the rules different? Why, when you buy a pack of cigarettes, does it cost you $15, and when you buy a pack of joints, it's going to cost you $4?
It's so funny you say that. I was in line behind somebody getting gas the other day, and I've never smoked in my life, so I have no idea.
You have asthma.
That too, exactly. So someone in ahead of me in line was literally buying one pack of cigarettes, and the cashier said the amount. I had to do a double take. Like, what? I had no idea that cigarettes were that expensive.
So expensive. Right?
No clue. I had zero clue.
And that's the state saying we want to make it just expensive enough that they still smoke because we need it, but not too expensive to stop them from smoking. Because if they truly wanted to stop people from smoking, they could just have the guts to say, you can't do it anymore.
The Senate vote on the House bill that just passed is scheduled for Friday.
Really? Okay.
So
well, let's see. Does it say with bipartisanship it's going to pass?
Well, if it already did 71 to 59, that leads me to believe it's probably going to pass.
Yeah, it's very possible. Anyway. And then it will take a couple of years to come into effect, I think.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So we'll turn all the Fratelloni stores into dispensaries.
Oh, boy.
Something to think about.
Pot corner at Fratelloni's.
I don't know.
I like that. Have its own little
I was kind
nook.
of against it. Now I think, how can this improve my
You were
life?
like, what's his name from SpongeBob, Mr. Crab.
Yes.
You just see the dollar signs.
I just think,
and then you're thinking,
how can
let's
this
do
affect me? Reavers, you are the best.
Thank you so much for tuning into this particular episode of the Weekly Scramble. And please rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. We will talk to you again next week. Until then, cheers. Guys, feel like it's harder to get in shape and stay in shape? Well, our sponsor, Nugenix Total T, is offering a complimentary bottle when you text 231-231 and enter the keyword garage. Hey, listen, I get it. You're getting older. Your body's changing. And you know what? I got tired of the dad bod feeling, and I wasn't feeling like my old self. Well, you don't have time to work out, but you also want the energy and the body that you once had. I get it. Nugenix Total T makes you feel revived. You're working out like you used to. So listen, if you want more energy and you want to counter the negative physical effects of aging, Nugenix Total T Testosterone Booster with Testofen is going to help you turn back the clock. It's going to re-energize your workouts and get you better results at the gym and help you look and feel like the man that you really want to be. Nugenix Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like Testofen. It has been validated in 5 clinical studies shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. Nugenix Total T is the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. And Nugenix Total T can help re-energize your life and help you get back the powerful, confident, good-looking warrior you used to be. Now, get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text 231-231 and enter the keyword garage. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermal, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with the key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text 231-231 and enter keyword garage. Text 231-231 and enter keyword garage. Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.